The clinic was pristine, its marble floors polished to a shine, but Clara only saw her reflection in them. Small, fragile, almost invisible. She sat on the edge of her chair in the waiting room, wringing the sleeves of her faded sweater until the threads twisted under her fingertips. Everyone else seemed confident. Women with designer handbags, men scrolling on sleek phones. She sat quietly, trying to shrink into the corner, hoping no one noticed her frayed backpack or the tremor in her hands. When the nurse finally called her name, Clara's legs felt like stone. She followed down a long hallway that smelled faintly of antiseptic and lavender. Her mind spun with worst-case scenarios. What if the doctor judged her, dismissed her, told her she wasn't worth the risk? The door opened and Clara froze. She had prepared herself for a gray-haired surgeon, brusque and impatient. Instead, the man waiting for her was young, early 30s, tall with sharp features softened by kindness in his eyes. His dark hair was neatly combed, his white coat crisp. But there was nothing cold about him. "Clara?" His voice was warm, steady, grounding. He rose and held the chair for her as if she were royalty instead of a trembling girl with second-hand shoes. She swallowed hard. "You're my doctor?" A small smile curved his lips. "I am Dr. Adrian Hale, but you can call me Adrian if that makes this easier." His gaze didn't linger on her worn clothes or her nervous hands. Instead, it was steady, attentive, as though he saw her, not her flaws. For the first time that day, Clara let herself breathe. Scene 2, behind the mask, expanded. Adrian opened her file, his eyes scanning the pages. Clara shifted in her chair, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's embarrassing. I almost didn't come." He looked up immediately, concern in his eyes. "Embarrassment has no place here. You've taken a huge step just by walking through that door. That already tells me how strong you are." Clara blinked, startled, strong. She had never thought of herself that way. She lowered her gaze, words tumbling out before she could stop them. "I've lived with this for years. People stare, they whisper, sometimes they laugh. I just want to walk into a room and not feel wrong." Her voice cracked on the last word. Adrian closed the file gently and leaned forward, elbows resting on the desk, his tone softer now. "Clara, let me tell you what I see. I see someone who's endured loneliness. Someone who's been brave enough to save every penny for this chance. Someone who is sitting here despite fear. That isn't weakness. That's courage." Her eyes lifted to his, wide and searching. No doctor had ever spoken to her like this, not clinically. Not detached, but as though her heart mattered as much as her body. That was when she noticed the plaque on his desk. Adrian Hale, founder-in-chief, Hale Medical Group. Her chest tightened. Founder, chief? This wasn't just a surgeon. He owned the hospital. Clara sat in the small private hospital room, the hum of the monitors and the faint scent of antiseptic reminding her of the weight of tomorrow. The world outside the window sparkled with city lights, but she felt like she was sitting in the shadows, alone with her doubts. Her bag sat on the chair beside her, a bag she had carried for years, patched and worn, stuffed with every coin and bill she had scraped together for this chance. Now on the eve of the surgery, fear gnawed at her chest. What if something goes wrong? What if I wake up worse? What if people still look at me and see only the girl who doesn't belong? She whispered into the emptiness. A soft knock startled her. The door creaked open and Adrian stepped inside, still in his white coat but without the formal air of earlier. His tie was loosened, his sleeves rolled up, and he carried 2 steaming cups of tea. "I thought you might not be sleeping," he said gently, setting 1 cup on her table. "Mind if I sit?" Clara nodded hesitantly. He pulled a chair beside her bed, close enough that she could see the faint shadows under his eyes. He wasn't just a surgeon, she realized. He was a man who carried burdens too. "I've done hundreds of these surgeries," he began, his voice calm. "But I know that doesn't ease the fear you're feeling. Fear is human. It means you care about tomorrow." Clara's eyes brimmed with tears. "I'm not scared of pain. I'm scared of not being enough even after all this." Adrian leaned forward, his voice lower now, almost tender. "Clara, listen to me. Surgery can change a body, but who you are, your kindness, your strength, that's what people will remember. That's what I've noticed about you already. You're already enough. Tomorrow is just about letting the world see what I see." The next morning blurred into anesthesia, darkness, and then the slow climb back to awareness. Clara blinked against the light, her body heavy, her mind fuzzy. She reached instinctively for her face, her chest. anything to prove she was still herself. A calm hand caught hers. Adrian's voice steadied her. Easy, you're safe. The surgery went perfectly. Tears welled in her eyes before she even saw the mirror. Safe. She hadn't realized how badly she needed that word. Hours later, when she was stronger, Adrian wheeled in a small mirror. Only if you're ready, he said softly, offering it like a sacred gift. Her heart pounded as she took it. Slowly, she lifted it toward her face. The girl staring back at her wasn't a stranger, but she wasn't the girl she had been. The scars were gone. The asymmetry that haunted her had been gently corrected. She was still Clara, but lighter, freer, as if years of cruel whispers had been brushed away. Her hand trembled and tears spilled down her cheeks. I don't look broken anymore. Adrian's gaze softened, his voice firm yet gentle. You were never broken, Clara. Now the outside finally matches the strength you've